Hello. Good morning. Let me check real quick. Good afternoon. It's 2 p.m. and 41 minutes. Good evening, good morning, whenever time you're watching this video. Today I just woke up, went to the gym. It's been a while, the whole month. Today, spring break is open back up again, and basically we are kicking off the first quarter of the year, because I've been promising to use the quarter system. So the first quarter of the year is about to start. It's gonna start in April, but this is like transitioning, right? So today spring break is open. It's raining. There is storm outside. You cannot see, but there's actually a storm going on, and so it's not fun. But luckily I went to the gym earlier, so I've finished the gym already. The classes are cancelled, so I have to, the in-person classes are cancelled, so I have to do classes on Zoom, because it's gonna be it's gonna be really raining and stormy around between 4, 5, 6, 7 p.m. in the evening. So this is typical life is like here in East Coast or Northeast, because one time it's sunny, it's sunny like 1 day or 2 days, then it's extremely windy, or it's cold and snows, or it's extremely raining. It's it's hurricanes, because that's hurricanes, and all these things happens every single day, right? And you barely, even when it's sunny, it's really hot and humidity. So, but since November, I've been making this video since November. Every single day has been extremely cold. No day has ever had a nice day. Like I can count how many days where the sky was smiling and good. So that being said, because I woke up late today, I somehow, whenever there's a weather changes, it affects my sleeping. All right, so if it's gonna be sunny, I wake up early in the morning. But if it's going to be raining or snow or windy, I usually wake up late. I don't know why. It's the changes in my body or something. So I woke up a little bit late, so I didn't get a chance to do I didn't have anything to do anyways, because I finished everything last week. I finished the data. I tried to download the data for tariffs. I couldn't find any of them, so it's gonna be really difficult to find. I had issues with APIs, putting the APIs from the Federal Drug Administrations and U.S. Kansas, trade. All these things is really complicated, because last year in November, is it November, October? I think it was November. There was government shutdown, so the data was dismissed. There was no data available, so it's very difficult. Anyways, I paused it. I will work on it next time. But last week I did a lot of work, so everything has been pretty much completed. I am like ready to write the paper. Starting this week, I'm gonna be starting writing and doing the regulations and other stuff. Now I want to say that today, for the first time, there was no any single news about US, Israel and Iran war. So no news, nothing. I mean, you can see on my paper, I mean, Trump just the court allows Trump to deport illegal migrants to third world countries. Then like it doesn't know much really. Trump says U.S. attacks are aggressively dismantling Iran's defenses. Like it's just like boring news. Like there's really not much in there. Even the last week on weekends, there was nothing on the news. So why is the news slowing down? Well, oh, it's raining so bad. It's getting even more raining. Why is there's no news in the United States? Well, even the news that I'm watching right now, the international news, they are all like past 3 days. That's because um, US and Israel attacked Iran, and Iran responded, as we all know, and then they killed the supreme leader. Iran did not care about that much, so they chose a new leader. However, the new leader is hiding, is not coming out because if he comes out, he might get killed. So they are hiding him, and then they are continuing shooting as many missiles as possible to Israel, and sometimes attacking the U.S. Military stations in other countries, in nearby countries. So this is making the U.S. not only lose money but also lose a lot of you know, military personnel. People are supposed to be in Iran, in the U.S., in the Middle East, not to fight but to assist Israel. That's their job. It's not the job for the U.S. is not to attack, is to assist the Israel, because Israel is the one fighting against Iran. The wars between Israel and Iran, and the U.S. is helping Israel as an ally, which it does all the time, right? But it's when it's losing the soldiers, it makes U.S. pull back, because this war is not benefiting American people. Americans are not getting benefiting. If anything, they're actually losing, because now Iran has threatened to attack the Strait of Hormuz. If any ship pass through it, Iran will attack it, right? But now every country is negotiating with Iran, all right? So like India, for instance, is having oil crisis, crude oil crisis. So they are negotiating with Iran, so Iran will let these ships pass through. Trump has also urged other countries to do the same thing, talk with Iran, and then let they can, you know, pass through, because if they don't, there's a risk here, right? Because the U.S. cannot protect other ships. But if they try to, you cannot. I mean, imagine about this, right? If U.S. was to station there one of the largest submarines in the area, then like, you know, Europe and Middle Eastern countries sends oil through Strait of Hormuz. Even if Iran sends these nuclear weapons targeting nothing, this could be a distraction for the men and women who are transporting oil between this area. So this is, and if any country loses the civilian people because of the attack from Iran, US and Israel will be blamed for, and if they get blamed, they could eventually accelerate into a world war, which means countries have to choose which side to defend, right? Is they gonna defend you know, which side to defend? Is it US, Israel, or Iran? So to avoid that, Trump is asking these countries to, especially the allies, to sort of like help out. Okay, he's asking for help, and it's costing so much money, right? So here we are. But today so that's why the news is really very slow. They really don't care about it, because the war is between Iran and Israel and the US. There is not any other person, right? And now I understand why Iran attacked their neighbors. I'm gonna prop the map real quick and show the map of Iran, Israel, and Africa, which is also part of the war, like Egypt, for instance, and the United States. So this is the map that I have here, and if I have to change a little bit, go over here. This is Middle East, on this side. So I'm gonna zoom in real quick. Okay. I don't know if it's working. There you go, it's working. So this is why this war is so complicated, right? I mean, every war in the Middle East has been complicated. I'm not gonna go too deep. You can go out there and watch YouTube videos or read the news. This is much deeper historical about the Middle Eastern war, because these countries, they don't get along. They don't really like collaborate each other. They all have issues among themselves. Even the US, without being involved, these countries will still fight each other. All right. These countries they rely on one economic output, which is oil, and they both produce oil. That means there is also some kind of a competition on oil, right? They have to compete each other based on oil or selling whatever that is. But Iran and Turkey, but forget about Turkey. Turkey is very separate. But Iran, particular, this right here, by the way, this is Iran. Where's the map? This is Iran. So you have Afghanistan here, Pakistan. So you have Iran on this side. If you can see, I'm hovering on it. Then on this side you have Armenia, you have Syria, you have Lebanon, you have Jordan, you have Iraq. Then you have Baghdad. This is like the city of Iraq, Baghdad. You have Kuwait, right? And then you have Qatar, UAE, United Arab Emirates, and Israel on the bottom here. Israel borders with Egypt. They actually will cross, like Alexandria and Cairo is close to Israel. All right. So Israel is not really like close, right? So then you have Saudi Arabia, Oman. These countries are like very, very, very rich, right? Obviously close to Africa, right? So why is Iran becoming a problem here? Well, actually, I spoke to somebody from Afghanistan right here. Okay, he was a very young person, so he was open to the ideas, and he told me, and I quote, that Iranians are racist against people, against other Arabs. Okay, they are racist against Afghanistan. In my understanding, they consider themselves to be some sort of like Europeans. I'm not too sure, and they want to impose power or dominate power to their neighbors. This is what led back in the 1970s. Is what led Pakistan, I believe, Pakistan or Iraq attack Iran, right? These countries are, the reason why they are so silent is because they know Iran is a problem. It used to be a superpower. Okay, it's like the way you see Europe is a superpower country. It's like the way you see Russia, superpower countries, or similar with China, similar with Japan, similar with the United States. Iran used to be a super powerful country, and they lost their power. Okay, they used to control part of the Middle Eastern area back in the day. That power has declined, and it used to be dominantly majority Muslims. So they believe, according to their system, they believe that only the country should be run by religious figures. What's why they have this imposing these Islamic beliefs. So without Israel, like excluding Israel out of whatever these countries, right? Take out Israel for instance. If there was no Israel, all these countries here that you see, all these countries you see over here, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Kuwait, UAE, Qatar, Jordan, these countries will be Lebanon, Syria. These countries will be under Iranian control because Iran is very, very strong. Okay, the only country that could attack, Iran and defeat it will be Turkey. But Turkey is way, way up here, right? It's way on the other side, close to Europe, right? So in 1948, the Jews who have been expelled from their own land, way, like 1,000 years before that, right? They were expelled obviously by this same type of regimes, right? way back in the day. The Jews were expelled from their land, and over this the land of Israel has been occupied by many what is it? It's been controlled by many kingdoms, many colonies. I can actually look it up. How many colonies have taken over Israel territory? It was never called Israel, but territory. So you'll be shocked by how many. I mean, people don't really have a time to search for these things, all right? I never cared about this before, but here you have. So in 1948, the Nakba War, or this you see, this was the establishing of the Israeli territory, Israeli occupants. They're also known as Zionists. What's happening right now is the people, this like Iran, for example, is against the settlement of the Zionists. Zionists are the people who moved from Germany, and all over the world, returning back to their what they call their own land. So it's what's happening right now. It's the exact reason why this war started in 1948. Okay. And this led to the displacement of people who used to live there before, who are known as Palestinians. Okay, so now I'm not going to go too deep into this, but both these two groups, the Jews and Palestinians, they both come from the same place. In fact, they are all in the Bible, in the Quran. They all on the place. Even when they speak, they're the same. They don't have many differences. I cannot tell the difference between Jews and the Palestinian, and unless they tell me specifically they are from there, I will not really tell. They're the same people. The difference is, again, like I mentioned, to the religious influences. We don't know if Palestinians were actually Muslims for thousands of years, but the answer is obviously no, because Islam was born few years after Christianity was already in there, and before Christianity there was Jews. So Jews were the first main believer before Christians came along. Christians was born due to Jesus Christ being is the one who popularized this movement. So this is very religious war, even though people refuse to admit it. So now we see Palestinians being Muslims as a result of the influence. It's like the way you see Nigeria. Nigeria was never a religious area. Now it's dominantly Muslims, similar with Uganda, similar with many African countries, right? So then now obviously you have 1968. But this is like, if you can look up like back in the day, how many colonies have actually taken over. It doesn't show whatever that is, but okay, maybe what empires have fought over Israel territory? Yes, just wanted to know how many empires. This is something to know here. Okay, so you have through history, the territory of Israel has been fought over by numerous empires due to its strategic location, including the Assyrian, Babylonian, Persian, Macedonian, Alexander the Great, Roman, Byzantine, Umayyad, Abbasid, Caliphate, Crusader, Ottoman. This is Turkey. I know Ottoman, but I don't know which one of these is the Persian. You see, the Persian is actually Iran. So Iran is also known as Persian. Okay, so Iran has actually taken over. So this is, you can see all these things have influence in this region. Okay, so let me repeat one more time. Throughout history, the territory of Israel has been fought over by numerous empires due to its strategic location, including the Assyrian, Babylonian, Persian, Macedonian, Roman, Byzantine, Umayyad, Abbasid, Caliphate, Crusader, Ottoman, and British Empire. British Empire were the last one to control it. And the British Empire, this is when Palestinians were in the territory occupying. But even that time, there were some Jews, even though they were very small numbers. So the British Empire is the one behind the occupation of British. They're the one who said, you know what, within our power, with the United States, we have to send these Jewish people back to their own land. And they wanted it. They didn't want. They've been living in Europe for a long time. They never became a citizen. They never owned their land. They are easily discriminated, just the way they are. Arabs have been discriminated. So they face the same discrimination. So they are like, you know what? What about we go back to our own land? So, help us go back to our own land and own this. So that's why they're gonna help. They got some help to go back to Israel. They have nowhere to be. They can't be anywhere. In fact, there was a debate of sending the Zionists or the Jews to Uganda at the time. All right, I think it was Uganda. What other countries were on the list? I can't remember. Somewhere in South America. But they were trying to send them somewhere so they can go there and settle, become the citizen. However, they specifically wanted to be in Israel. At the time, there was no wealthy, there was no land, there was nothing. So it shows, it means that when people support Israel, they're not being stupid, right? Why would you move to an area like Arizona where there's no land, no water, nothing, empty? Move from an area where there was, education, like Germany, there's education, there is opportunities. The Jews are everywhere. They're in Africa, they're in Europe, they're in the US, they're in Russia, right? China. And where they are, they have land, they have money, they have resources, they have, knowledge, they have education, they have survived so long that they, even in the US, they own the banks, they are the landlords. They work together, they stick together. But why would they choose to go to an area that is so small? Why didn't they choose Iran? Why did they choose, I don't know, Nepal? They choose specifically that area because they think it's where they came from. And I think that's powerful. I mean, it's powerful to the point where I cannot stand here and say, I am from the United States. I cannot stand here and say, I'm from a specific area, even if I wasn't from there. Right? So these people, for generations, they know they came from this area and they belong there, to be honest. So these powers have controlled this area for a long time, and I can go one by one from this Google search, simple Google search. Here is the breakdown of major empires that fought over or occupied this territory. Ancient Near Eastern powers. The Neo-Assyrian Empire conquered the northern kingdom in 722 BCE, and the Neo-Babylonian Empire, led by Nebuchadnezzar, conquered Judea of today. This is Judea alive today, right? 586 BCE. This is before Christ, right? Destroying the first temple. You see, so this is not new. This is not new that when you see the history repeating itself. Okay, classical antiquity. Following Persian control, this is Iran. Following Persian control, Alexander the Great conquered the region in 332 BCE. The land then became a battleground between the Ptolemaic Kingdom, which is Egypt, and the Seleucid Empire, which is Syria, later falling to the Roman Republic of 1600 BCE. So the Roman Empire came after by kicking out Egypt, and we know in the Bible, the Jews who went to Egypt as slaves because they had starvation. So when people say, choose the side, especially people who are born in America, when they try to bring this history, like trying to, it's okay to advocate for people in Palestine who are suffering, but find the solutions to fix this problem instead of trying to cause more problems. So yeah, then you have Byzantine. I think Byzantine is Turkey, as far as I can remember. Byzantine and the early Islamic rule. This is the Islamic influence. The Byzantine Empire ruled before falling to the Muslim conquest. So this is Muslim conquest. by the Rashid Caliphate in 638 CE. This is after Christ, I think, followed by Umayyad Abbasid and Fatimid Caliphates. So the Islam took over this time. Crusader and later Islamic dynasties. The Kingdom of Jerusalem was established by Crusaders in 1099, later fought over by the Ayyubid dynasty, Saladin, and the Mamluk Sultanate, followed by centuries of Ottoman rule. The Ottoman is Turkey between 1516 to 1917. This is recently. So the Turkey was in control of this area until 1917. This is really like yesterday. Why? This is before Great Depression. This is a few years after this time we had World War II. All right. Modern conflicts following the end of the Ottoman Empire, take Turkey. Great Britain controlled the Palestinian Mandate. Since 1948, the region has seen multiple conflicts: 1948 war, 1967 Six-Day War, involving the modern state of Israel and neighboring nations including Egypt, Jordan, Syria, and Iraq. Okay, so this conflict tells you that these regions, they don't really get along, and it's been like this for generations, right? Why? Nobody knows. These are known as the people of the deserts. Okay. But it keeps being the question is, I mean, these people have been promised wealthy, they've been promised peace, they've been promised, they are very resilient, right? You see this in the Bible. They are resilient. They call us as Kafirians. We are not really like, even if we become Muslims, they don't see us as part of them. Now within the Islam regions, there's also two types of regions, Islam groups. There is Shia Muslims and Sunni Muslims. I believe Iran is dominated by Shia Muslims. Yeah, the Shia Muslims, and then they want to impose the power. But they both to get along. They both end up. They both go to Mecca. They both see the Dome of Rock in Israel, the holy site. They see that as equal. So there is some kind of arguments, but they don't really agree with each other. Now, Israel in particular is blamed for bringing in the outsiders. Okay, this is why US is involved. Iran and many other Islamic countries, they see US as the outsider, and they see US as a demonic country, because in the United States we have a system that operates out of the religious rules: work hard, make money, pornography, films, lying, do whatever you want to do, freedom of speech, freedom of expressions, no religious involvement in the government. For them, they don't like that. They think that's against the Bible. It's against the Quran. Remember, the Quran and the Bible are the same thing. There's no difference between the Quran and the Bible except Prophet Muhammad, right? So these guys see America not as an enemy, but as people should be kept far away. Okay, and the reason why other countries like Iraq, Afghanistan, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Oman, they are American friends is due to one thing: security. These countries have oil, right? So the consumer of this oil is mostly the Europeans and Americans, right? There's investments in their countries, so they have developed really fast. So the only exchange is the security. US provides security in return, getting money, and the American corporations goes in there to pick this oil, right? These are American producers. You see the same thing when American corporations goes in there and they build these oil reserves, oil mining companies. They go with the United States, right? US has to go in there and provide security. Okay, that's what US has been doing. So these countries have to comply. If they ever kick out American corporations from these countries, US will jump in with military and destroy them, like the way they're doing it with Iran. So Iran was angry. They see these countries as the traitors, right? They see these countries as non-Islam. They are traitor. They are trading their Islam. They are not holding the U.S. accountable, right? Like a kafir, and the U.S. should not have a place to the table. Okay, so that's why we see right now, Iran has never, no country in the Middle East has ever tried to attack, another country like, I don't know, like Italy, which Italy holds a lot of Romans believers, right? This has never happened. That's because, these countries consider US as an enemy. They consider US as demonic, okay? And this is not the first time this happens. Even we remember back when internet was becoming a big of a deal, if even in Africa, that there was conspiracy theories calling American politicians, American celebrities as demons, as they sacrifice children, they do horrible things. So this beliefs is actually in people's minds. Politicians in these countries, they believe those things. Even though I cannot necessarily rule out that that's not true, but to some extent, these people do not want the influence of American to influence their countries. So it's where we are. So speaking about the war, this is Israel over here. Okay, so Israel is attacking Iran. This is where Iran is. This is Tehran. This is the capital city of Tehran over here. So sending the rockets from here to this area, you have to pass through Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, Iraq, Kuwait to shoot this area, and the nuclear weapons are being made on this side here, this over here. So the Americans are making this area is very, very difficult to. Yes, the more you go this side, the harder it gets. These areas are all in the Bible, on the Quran. All these areas, right? Kabul, right? This is like Mashhad, Ashgabat, this going over to India, Karachi, this India area, Mumbai. All these guys have been really, really, really very religious. I mean, you can see the all these areas, right? So Israel being on this side, attacking this country here, not only is it beneficial to the Israel because this country hates Israel, it's also beneficial to neighboring countries like Iraq, Kuwait. These countries have massive oil, and they have used that oil to develop their countries. They have over and over, what can I call it? Broke the Islamic rules. Like women in this area, they can go around without covering their head. They have, allowed massive developments in the area. They have allowed alcohol. So people decide to consume alcohol. Prostitution is happening in this area, right? So all of these things is against the Muslim belief, especially the Shia Muslims. According to Iran, this country needs to be bombed. Okay, it's the reason why they attacked their neighbors. When we say Iran attacked their neighbors, it's because they cannot send rockets to this area. It's too far, right? I mean, they are doing it right now. They can, but to send rockets from this area to this area, it costs much money and so much resources. So what they do before remember these countries over here that I just mentioned, this United Arab Emirates and all Arab countries. These countries, they are protected by the US. So US protects them. They give them security, and US has stationed military areas in this area. Not because the US cares about Iran, not because the US cares about these countries, but because they care about oil. There's oil being digged in this area, and it's benefiting American corporations a lot. There's a lot of meetings going on in Texas just for the purpose of oil in the Middle East. Okay, so US knows what it's doing. It's protecting their own assets in the Middle East, in this part of the area. But because Iran threatened to attack Israel and destroy it, so they can turn Israel into a Muslim area by giving Palestinians the whole territory, Israel asked the US to heavy power because they cannot do it on their own. So US has been trying to figure out what ways can they attack Iran without damaging the relationship between the US and these countries. All right. So US stationed military on this area, Red Sea, and the military also on this area. Okay, so when you see those boats that are shooting a bunch of rockets to Iran, they are all coming from this area. Okay, now in this area over here, this is close to Dubai. So I'm gonna zoom in real quick. If I zoom in real quick over here, this tiny thing, okay, this area, remember Kuwait is the richest country, is the richest country in the world. They have a lot of oil. Why? Then you have the Persian Gulf, or Arabian Gulf. That's the Persian, which is like the Iranian Gulf. On this side you have Qatar, you have United Emirates. So they are neighbors to Iran. Now there is a lot of economic activities going on here. Okay, there are many economic activities going on here. So the oil goes from this side, comes this way. The ships goes from this side, goes this way, and it passes through this area. This area neighbors with Iran. So when the war broke out, Iran threatened to cross this area. Anybody who crosses this area gets shot. So that's gets beaten, gets bombed at. That's why we have a global oil crisis. This is known as Strait of Hormuz. If I can zoom in, I don't know if you can see it. I can keep zooming in. Okay. So this is where the issue is going on right now. So Iran is controlling this area, and the US cannot control this area. They can't technically attack Iran from here because there are people who live in this area, there are residents who live in this area. So when you look at Iran, where it's being attacked, which is all the way up here, Tehran, which is far. US wants to attack this area because this is what is the administration, right? This is what Israel is attacking. So this is what's causing the concept we have right now. Then I mentioned last time that there are so many economic activities happening. Many countries in this area rely so much on this area, right? Because countries like India, just pick India, forget about Pakistan, forget about Afghanistan, forget about China, Japan, forget about those countries, right? India, one country, India, they rely heavily on this area, and they have the largest population in the world, right? So with this area being blocked, India suffers a lot. And also you can look at India here as you go from this part of Middle East, you shift towards the Indian area. You can see that the all part of this India area, right? Islamabad, which is like I believe that's Afghanistan, whatever. Islamabad and this Kabul, these cities, right? All this Jakarta, Rajasthan, Punjabi, Gujarati, Karachi, these cities over here. You can see that these are fertile land, right? Right, these are fertile land, which means they have more activity going on beyond oil. Okay, this area supplies oil, good, but here these guys are they're relying mainly on industries that rely heavily on oil. Okay, so industries like agriculture, right? Factories, right? Schools, manufacturing, right? Military, all these things relies heavily on oil. These countries have not yet transitioned to and they have no any other ways of supplying oil. This area over here is inhabitable. You cannot go in this area. Tibet, there's even some war going on here. Bhutan, These are mountains. These are very hilly, very hard. Istanbul, this is really, Islamabad, this is really hard, right? So they have to rely heavily on this area, on the oceans, right? Going this way. Mumbai. So Mumbai is the largest city in the world. So there is a cross oil in this area. Mumbai is suffering the most. Or what South Indian area, right down here. Okay, Sri Lanka, can see this area. China is gonna come up in a few seconds. Where's China? Where's China? Where's China? Somewhere over here. Anyways, I can go on and on and on, but these countries relies heavily on the oil. So India and China, they are the main driver of economic, right? China is over here, so you can see China over here is China, right? So you have India all the way to China, and this area over here has a lot of economic activities. You can see there is fertile land. These are mountains and hills, Himalayas, Beijing. Like, so the oil goes all the way around supplying this area. On top of that, you also have ships supplying goods and services to United States, right? So with one single place that they mistakenly did not think about when they attacked Iran is now causing a global oil crisis. How is this going to stop? Well, to stop this, first Israel will have to be beaten. Their own what is it? Iron domes are not really working pretty well, so Iran is now attacking the neighboring countries, and also it depends on how long will how long can US take how can America tolerate the high prices of gas. I mean, I think it's gonna be expensive. Another thing to note here is that the Iranian missiles may run out. If they run out, great. Or one of their leaders may come up and ask for negotiations, peace talks. Trump might ask for peace talks because they have so much pressure from the American people. They are pressuring him. They are questioning why are you wasting money and killing our children in those wars that don't really involve the United States, the benefits the United States, right? So you have these tensions happening right now, and another thing to notice here is that Benjamin Netanyahu, his leadership survives because of the war. He attacks other countries, right? He calls other countries enemy, and the people vote for him not because he's a good leader, but because he thrives based on war. He says, if you don't vote for me, nobody's gonna fight the war. Nobody's gonna, like he says that these countries are enemies, and he kind of has a really good intelligence, right, that investigates this. So Israel might see a lot of, because Israel is very diverse, unlike these other countries in the Middle East. Israel is diverse. It's Christian, it's Muslims, it's Jews, there's black, there's white, there's Arabs, there's Palestinians. It's a very mixed country. It's why it's a good country. By the way, it's a good country. Despite there wars going on, it's still a good country. So they could come together and say, you know what, we're gonna kick out Benjamin Netanyahu and vote a new person, and then whoever comes in can eventually sort of like ask for peace deal and negotiate and see peace between these two countries. Other than that, this war is not gonna go on for so long because no country wants to involve in there. Okay, Trump has already destroyed many countries with tariffs, cut so many aid, right? So nobody's gonna help out except these two countries finding their solutions. Trump was supposed to meet with Xi Jinping to discuss about tariffs and economics issues, but Trump has postponed as because he has the pressure with this war. He was dragging into it, he wasn't ready for it, and he's paying the consequences. Other than that, that's all for today. Thanks for watching. Like always, if this excites you about the military and wars in the world, please I hope I can do more in the future. Other than that, thanks for watching. Like always, bye bye, ciao ciao, adios, spasiba. Take care. Bye bye.